Llari, true story. Heartbreaking true story. My name is Ilaria. I am a child of Addis Ababa. I am the only child of my family, and that is why I think they take special care of me. My mother is an orthopedic specialist, and my father is a dermatologist. 9 means he entered high school. Like any other girl, puberty changed me. To be honest, I don't know whether it was my mother or my father. They are both beautiful, but my mother's is different. As people tell me, their beauty has had an effect on me. I describe myself as red and shapely. When I was 9, I started to attract people's hearts. I didn't know any jokes in my studies. I have 2 friends. Their names are Biza and Giz. There were a lot of guys who bothered me, but they didn't care. They were happy. We went out to eat dinner. We ate while playing. To the toilet I went home, and when I was leaving, I bumped into a boy. I just said sorry that the boy is beautiful and left. We finished our dinner and left. Fortunately, I was assigned ASTU. I started my campus life as A. On the first day, I looked for my dorm and entered. As soon as I entered, 5 children were sitting and talking. When I entered, they greeted me happily. There are 6 of us in total. Their names are Hannah, Betty, Makdi, Maki, and Nell. I spend the night at home and in the dorm as I want. I stayed for a few days and went home so that the class could start well. Even though my mother and father had work, they never left time for me. I went to the campus. It was afternoon today. Our class went in and the teacher said something to us. Then we went to a cafe. It's not the dining hall, but there is another one in the courtyard. Hanam said, "Brooke is here." She told everyone to call them and come. 2 men came and said hello. I understood that they were talking about them earlier, so I kept quiet. First, she said Brooks. He asked one of them, who was a handsome man, and he said he was talking on the phone. Suddenly my phone rang. It was my mother. I went out to talk to him. By the time I got off my phone, the boys had turned 3 and had a hot game. Saimu's son approached Makdi and she said something, and she turned around. "Dear son, I have Danny earlier. One is the prince, whose smile is beautiful, and the third is Job. Where is the opinion?" But I thought I knew her somewhere. I just called her Ilaria. The prince smiled and said, "You are as special as your name." In this situation, Job is more handsome than his friends. He has long chest, blonde hair, red dimples, beautiful teeth, and a genius. He is just a boy who can't stand anything. On Saturday, I went home and we went out to have dinner together. The same families who are advising me do not know the humor of my education. When we got home at 4 p.m., Pianu called and said, "Hey Danny, you're leaving without telling me you're going to school." I just couldn't go to class, so I sat in the dorm and started looking at my phone. After a few hours, Hani called me. "Where are you, Ilari?" she said to me. "Dorm slate," she said. "Come to our place. I just passed by." 100, I left all this beauty alone. I left him. Then he took my hand and said, "Is it disrespectful?" But when he shook me off, I slapped him and left. But I didn't tell them about it. It was Danny who called Hani's phone. She got up from where she was sitting, saying that you are saying, "Danny, come." I told them to bring me lunch, if I'm not going to write the class I missed now. They said no, so I just said okay, and went with them. When we arrived at the cafe, Ayub was waiting for us. When we finished eating lunch, we started chatting. They are not children of Addis Ababa except for me and Job, and we agreed to have dinner at the best place of my choice, and I went to the dorm and wrote my past and slept. Hannah and Makdi, Danny and Prince Hawassa are the children of Hawassa. Maki and Betty are the children of Bahardar, and Panu is the daughter of Makeli. It was Maki's voice that woke me up from my sleep. If not, he hung up the phone saying that we will not go. We started. A man wears what he likes best, isn't it? And since I'm a shapely person, I always chose a shapely dress from them and put it on. We all went out. We arrived at Gibby's door while he was talking to my mother on the phone. They were waiting for us. I finished talking on the phone a little bit later, and my mother told me to wait for myself. They said hello and hung up. Just as I joined them, 3 men I didn't know were with Job. You just greeted them without saying anything. Danny looked at me in amazement and said, "Wait, what's wrong with you?" I was shocked. I've never been happier. "Thank you, Joba, even though he's not older than you." He gave me his beautiful smile. "We have you to take us." I looked up at Job and he said, "I know, but I also think it's the best place. I will definitely take you to your choice." I looked up at Job and he said, "Oh, I know it. But I also thought it was the best place. I'm sure that the place I will take you will be your choice. This is the place where we eat dinner with my family." We went in and sat down. "Everyone liked it," he said. "I was thinking of bringing you here too." They all laughed out loud. There are many questions in my mind right now. I think I know Job somewhere, but I couldn't figure out where he knew him. We just spent our evening happily. We got up and left without closing the door of GB. We were in the car 2x2. I was a little tired with Job, so I put him on my shoulder. The car dropped us off at the garage door. We entered with our hands entwined like a couple. The kids I met still laughed at the boy who hit me when he saw me. I didn't say anything either. Yobam accompanied us to the dorm. A week passed like this. This morning we had class. When we went in and out of class, a short, beautiful girl hit me in the face and said, "I'm sorry." My guards and I were surprised and laughing. While we were having lunch with Joba, Danny said, "Where are you?" "I don't know who you are. I don't understand who." I said, "Leave it alone. Accept num and do it. Say what you want. Say whatever you want." "Who is there again?" "Jobam, that Abel's guardian Hanim, Abel. I mean, the women say you're crazy, you'll die once. Prince ... yes, it's him. Bitim. Wait, Abel means software engineering department. He's not, so it's not hard to find out about it," she says. "Wait, so what does this have to do with llari?" she said. "Danny," Adrit slapped her hand again, asking what to do to her again, and he said it was a man who told me. Then they all laughed. I was also confused. When they finished laughing, they all said, "Wait, okay, tell them all," and I told them all. "Is it?" She said that she will forget it for a while. My phone rang. It was my mother. I went out and talked to her. I was going to go tomorrow, but suddenly she said that my grandmother came from abroad and she is saying come today. I just told her that I will come with a contract and she hung up. I said goodbye to them, that there is a cafe there, and I started to go to the dorm to take my clothes. On the way, I met him again, that is, the boy who hit me. He came closer to me while smiling, pulled my hand and pulled me closer to him. "It hurts. You're making me sick. You know what I want from you." "Keep it short," I said, looking at him. "Okay, who are you?" "You raised your hand on me. What I want now is simple. I am listening to you speak. Go into the cliff with him, okay?" I was about to go. He held me tightly by the waist. "Who are you? Tell me." When I screamed for me to cry, a boy from where he came grabbed my waist and hit me with a box. Rubbing my beaten cheek again, he said, "What's wrong with Abello?" I said, "I remember the boy they used to call Honey Abel." Again, he left us without saying anything. Abel said, "You're fine. He's really beautiful, and they're crazy about him." I'm talking to myself. He said, "Mom, are you okay?" He escorted me to the halfway house. I went to my dorm, collected my clothes, and when I reached the door, my father was waiting for me. He happily got into the car. When we got home, my grandmother was sitting and waiting for me. I love my grandmother very much. She is my mother's mother. She is a loving woman. They told me that I was happy, and I hugged her. My class came in. I got a text on my phone. "It's still Monday. What's up?" "It's Joba." "It's Monday," says Ioba. I smiled without knowing. Ioba heard that it's a good thing, but he heard it when they came, not when they came. I finished Saturday and Sunday, and went back to Hibi on Monday. When I entered the dorm, everyone was asleep. We have class this afternoon. Punu woke up, and we got together and went out together. As we were walking, I saw him again, and he passed by laughing. We went to a cafe and sat down. I said, "Llari." I told her what I had. We said hello, and everyone joined us except Yoba. Makim. Yoba's called Dan and Prince. Dan. I thought Baksh had spent the night with one of them. My heart felt like it was split into two. I told them that I felt sick and wanted to sleep, but they didn't like it, so I left. I don't know what happened to me. When we get angry, it hurts quickly, so I rolled over and slept. I was woken up by Hani's phone call at around 8 o'clock. Hani asked me if I was safe and told me that they would not go to class. I went to the library to go to the dorm, but I couldn't read. Then I went out and sat down. But then something caught my attention. A girl was crying to the boy who was standing next to her. "What does it mean that I don't want you after all that?" She was crying with a mixture of pleading and anger. I could see that the boy was behind him, but suddenly he pushed her away and started walking away. I was very angry and picked her up. The boy turned around. She said, "Let's go to bed." It was his son, Abel. When he saw me, he stopped in shock. I said to him, "It's okay, isn't it?" He took my hand. I let go of my hand. I said, "What is it?" He looked at the clock and said, "Let me invite you to dinner." He looked at her and took me with him. Since I was alone, he agreed to the idea of dinner. We went to a cafe not far from Gibby Wetton and sat down. But don't talk about his beauty. He is really beautiful. He has a masculinity. He told her to eat and closed the door. He was talking while we were eating what we ordered. And while I was listening, his conversation was pleasant, calm, and quiet, and his choice of words was pleasant. He is a third-year student of Ayoba Bach. If you wanted one woman, the tears of many women would not have been shed. How did you say that? I straightened up from my chair. I kept quiet, and he smiled. I am a man. They know what I want. If they follow me when I ask them, if they say yes, what if they come to me? What do I want to marry them? Oh, it's to accompany them as they came. I said, "Let's go." He said okay, and we went out holding each other. When we got to Kibi Bear, Joba, that is, everyone was waiting for me at the Kibi gate. I don't think they were surprised to see me and Abel together. What do you want from her? Abel smiled and said that you should eat what you lost. Joba grabbed Abel and Dan didn't let them go. Joba was shouting, "You can hear me, Abel. I know you well. If you say that he will touch her like the other women," I took Joba's hand and went. It was because I don't want you to be like the others. Who are the others? After all, if they happen, it will be me. Thank you for thinking of me, Job, but it's not necessary. I can take care of myself. Think about the others instead of what you think about me. When I entered the dorm, it was as I expected. Everyone was surprised and asked me questions. There is no one there. At 7 o'clock, Iyoba called me. I picked up. "Hello, Llari." "Hey, Iyoba. Where are you? I wanted to meet you." I told him, "Let's come to a cafe." "No, I want you alone." "Okay, where are you?" "Nah. He is coming to Gibi, but he won't go in. Wait for me outside the door." "Okay, Iyoba," he said, and closed it. Hani and I went to the door. They returned, and I started waiting for Joba. I saw him coming from afar. "Oh, Joba, don't worry. He is wearing a dress that pleases me. I have 100 greetings beside me." Then he said, "Let's go." I said yes. I don't know where we are going. I wanted to ask Joba, but he kept me quiet. We got off the taxi, Iyoba took my hand, and we entered a neighborhood where there are very beautiful houses. Iyoba picked up a phone and said we are coming and hung up. He realized there was someone waiting for us. Iyoba stood by a door. It's a GT3 house. How beautiful it is from the outside. Iyoba pressed the doorbell and looked at me and smiled. He held my hand tightly. A girl opened the door and said, "Welcome." I didn't understand anything. I just watched what was going to happen. We entered the house and the house was empty. When we entered, the house was full of incense. We entered the living room. A woman in a white dress and a man in a tuxedo were sitting on the sofa. As soon as she saw us, she stood up and greeted us saying, "Hey, my son, you have come." Joe Baum, "Well, hello, it's my mother." I said to him, I was shocked, and he said, "This is my father." I met both of them and sat down. He brought me because of Nat and his family didn't ask me. I'm just glad. We said goodbye to Yoban's family and started our journey to Gibi. Even though they told us to spend the night at home, I refused. Yoba is the only child in the family. I just happily waved at him. When we reached Gibi, we called Danny and met them at a cafe. I was still surprised, but no one asked where we were. Yoba and I were full, so they ate dinner and went to the dorm. I have a relationship. When I meet Abel, I greet him. Again, we end this year talking with his vengeful comments and threats. We haven't been in for 2 weeks. I miss you so much. I called everyone and I arrived at GB. When I entered the dorm, they were all there. I greeted them and we went out to talk for a while. I don't know what happened to me lately, but all my thoughts are on Joba and I miss him so much. Danny called me and I told him that we are coming to the cafe. I was happy to see him from afar. "And where are we going?" Makdi Prince laughed and said, "We will come quietly and relax." Yobam took my hand, and as soon as we left the courtyard, a girl came in front of us. "I don't understand, Joba, you know." Jobam let go of my hand and said to her, "Come back and go back to Gibi." Danny quickly said, "Come on, let's wait for him." I've never felt this feeling in my life. I just smiled to pretend that I didn't care. Yobam also came. Hani said hello to him. He nodded his head in the affirmative. I didn't say anything. We just continued on our way. They had 2 cars. They didn't know where they brought him from. I said, "What are we going to do in Debrecen?" Dan turned around and said, "Let's go." We reached Debrecen Babugaya. About it. I mean, you're a mysterious boy just from my name. I don't know anything about you from the 6 of you. Wait, okay, what can I tell you? I have what you want, Joba, I said quietly. It's 11 o'clock, but no one said let's go. At a certain time, I said I shouldn't put on a mask, so I went to the toilet to wash my face. Ioba and Dan are talking, and I can hear them talking. But Ioba said, "Help. You know how to love you, Dan." But the name, Radu. He complained to me. I remembered that earlier Job called that girl to help her. Jobam remained silent. Danam. You are Miriam, help me. I knew that she loves you very much. She said that she spent the day with a weak girl like that. I was left standing there. I turned my face and went to the lake as if I was hiding. Something has grabbed my heart, and it's turning me around. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm not going to sleep with a woman who wants her. Why does my heart tell me that you are different from others? It is Joba. When I realized that it was him, my blood boiled and I moaned about what they were talking about. He slowly entered my neck. I lifted his hand from my waist and turned around and slapped him and left him. After I left, what did I do? Pinu came while I was talking to him alone. "Where are you lost?" When she saw the confusion on my face, she asked, "What are you doing?" I said that I'm fine. Why don't we go back to Gibi? No, because it's getting late. We're going to spend the night here.